we're only 58. Hey, Mark. Ready? Good evening, folks. Thanks for coming out. We have several board members in attendance, so we'd like to recognize them as well. Kathy Oshevsky is here. Thank you, Kathy, for coming in. And Mark Henson is here as well. We have a board candidate, Ryan Holstein. Thanks for joining us, Ryan. Oh, and Brooke Lagrasso, too, coming in. So thank you to our board members, board candidates for coming out. This is our first quarter town hall, and we will do these every quarter at a minimum, once per quarter. Sometimes they will certainly simply be updates in terms of some highlights on how we are progressing toward meeting our district goals. Sometimes they may be subject specific. We certainly did a good number of financial town halls earlier actually last summer at this point. So always happy to address specific topics, but each quarter at a minimum, we will make sure that we update our community in terms of our district goals. First, it's important we remind people of our district goals. Most important goal will always be academic excellence. We are here to be an academic institution that inspires learning from the excellent instructors and support staff that we have. Very proud of what we've seen, what I've seen so far in our classrooms. Extremely engaged students, focused on their learning objectives, and very talented staff leading a very dynamic battery of lessons and assessments, and so we're very proud of what we've seen. Modern facilities is the second goal. We'll touch on what we did this summer and what we look forward to in terms of this winter. Ensuring operating efficiency, which essentially means making sure that we are good stewards of tax dollars. We want to make sure that we are as efficient as possible as we operate quite a significant learning organization. And finally, and we added this one this year, the first three were really from our strategic plan that was forged in 2019 called Steps Toward Success, or Plan for Progress. But our fourth that we added is to become pillars of the community. And we want to make sure that we are relentlessly pursuing every opportunity that we can to engage with our public, to make sure that our public feels as if they have a connection to the schools, even if they really don't anymore. So even if you don't have children in the schools, or you're not alumni, or you're not staff, we want to make sure that you feel that we offer some value to you as well. And we'll continue to work toward that goal. First, we will have some academic updates. And I share this because recently our state report cards came out. And when our state report cards come out, they have pages and pages and pages of data. If you printed all of that data out, you would probably have 35 or 40 pages. Single-spaced, colorful diagrams and charts. I have always believed that the most important statistic in all of those statistics that comes out is our performance index. And our performance index is the clearest indicator of how our students are performing on tests. Essentially, it's like a big sausage factory. They're going to put every piece of data that we give them on state tests into one number. And that one number is a compilation of not only did students pass or fail tests, but how they actually scored. So were they basic? Were they limited? Were they accelerated? Were they advanced? Were they proficient? All of those performances go into one number. And we are proud that our number, our performance index, has continued to tick up in recent years. Now, candidly, and we'll talk about this in the next screen, we did lose a half of a star as a district. However, that half of a star came from a battery of other areas. our most important statistic, how our students performed on these tests, continued to increase. So you see, coming out of COVID, we were at 88.838. We have steadily improved so that we are now 2 points above that at 90.862. This is always, to me, the most important indicator that you will see. It's one number that says, how did your kids do on state tests? Boom, it's your performance index. Oh, let me say this too. I apologize. I didn't talk about the format. So I'm going to present first, district goal update. Heather is going to come up next. This is Dr. Hedgepeth. She's one of our assistant superintendents. And then after her presentation, we will take any questions that you have, any comments that you want to make. The microphone will be yours. So if you do have questions as I go through, try to keep them, and we will take any questions that come up afterward. Second, academic excellence slide. We know that we have work to do in early literacy, and we have work to do in college, career, workforce, military readiness. Both of those had 2 stars. The most you can earn is 5, and 5 would certainly be significantly exceeding state standards. 2 is below state standards. Essentially, it says needs some support to meet state standards. We know that these 2 weaknesses exist, and we have formed concrete plans. These are some of our summary of our plans, but we are continuing to really make sure that we're shoring up Tier 1 in grades K through 3. We are continuing to make sure that we are providing targeted support to students whose skills are lacking. So if you follow me on Facebook, and I know a few of you in the audience do, on Friday I actually highlighted one of the more significant practices that we have in this regard, and that's progress monitoring. So this is not easy, because when you think of a classroom, and you think of 26 or 27 or 28 third graders, certainly a lot of energy, a lot of interest. Progress monitoring requires the teacher to call one student to the nice kidney table on the back or the side of the room and have that student read aloud to them. It's a fluency check. There are other prompts that they might work through, but that is the main objective. Now, the reason that's such a challenge is if we're going to put significant attention into this one student, we better make sure that the other ones are actually focused on what they're performing. And so I've posted that on Friday because I was extremely impressed by that teacher's ability to progress monitor, see where that student's at, meet them, and give them some individual attention and individual support about where they're at, while the rest were actually focused on a different activity. That's one clear step that we take to improving early literacy. We try to tailor instruction to individual needs as much as possible. From a college, career, workforce, military readiness standpoint, we will not make excuses, but we think we're better than that. That measure, that was the first measure, or the first year that's actually been reported. And I will tell you that many districts had a rude awakening because the data measures were more significant maybe than we envisioned in terms of how to make sure we're crossing every T and dotting every I and making sure that we get the right data to the state. We believe we've identified some gaps in how we reported data last year, and we believe that we will address this in a way that moves to a more representative reporting of what we actually produce coming out of Pickerington. So again, not an excuse, we own it, but we believe that data reporting itself and being more meticulous with some of the measures we're able to represent should help us in this regard. From a modern facility standpoint, very significant work that was completed this summer. Pickerington Central has 24 new classrooms and a new wing. If I can just tell you from my personal standpoint, what I'm amazed at is how seamless these wings have been incorporated into these schools. So we have 24 classrooms at Central, then we have 21 classrooms at North. You would not know that those wings were not there. They really have seamlessly blended into the rest of the school. So when I've been doing classroom walkthroughs and visits, I walk into that 900s wing and it's brand new and you wouldn't even really realize it. I mean, it really feels like a natural part of the school. This really gives us the ability to have a more comfortable, more positive learning environment. We certainly know that natural light, the ability to sit without sort of being crammed in, the ability for teachers to have their own classroom as opposed to having to move from classroom to classroom. These are all daily conditions which really can accent the learning experience or hamper it. And so we're proud of the new wings that have opened because we think that it really is an enhancement of what our facilities were able to offer. We're certainly excited, and Ms. Bryan is certainly excited as well. Yeah, you just can't escape that picture, can you? We're certainly excited to open Central Junior High. Yeah, if anybody doesn't know, that's Miss Jacqueline Bryant. She's our communications lead, and she took a great selfie there, and it has appeared now in multiple presentations, and she never knows when it's going to come up. It's just there. So thank you, Ms. Bryant, for donning your Rasili helmet and taking one for the team. So very excited about that. We do not know yet when we're getting the keys. However, both projections are not March, as apparently there is a rumor of. One projection is for January, one projection is for February, but it's February at the latest, which would be President's Day weekend. And so we want to make sure that folks understand we are on schedule. There will be some disruption to the students who attend Ridgeview in terms of what their schooling looks like. We're obviously trying to minimize that, but we also have to account for the fact that moving classrooms in the middle of a year will take a little bit of logistical juggling. So as soon as we know from Rasili, who is the construction manager, we will inform our parents of here's exactly what the schedule is going to look like. We want to, again, maximize instruction, minimize disruption, but acknowledge that it's a pretty significant move during the course of a year. From a financial standpoint, and honestly, my friends, if you attended or watched any of the financial town halls in the summer, these are repetitive slides to you, but I also think that they are our most prescient slides. I think that these slides tell a story, and I think that the more often we are putting these statistics in front of our public, the more compelling case that we can make for eventually asking for enhanced revenue, which we again want to try to make a run at this May. This, I think, is compelling. If you look at some of our neighbors, some of our 270 neighbors, and look at the gap between when we have passed a new operating levy and when they have, we're significantly behind. 2011 to what is now going to become 2026 without another operating levy is a significant amount of time. Levy cycles tend to be 4, 5, 6 years. We are now coming up on what will be 15 years, which is pretty significant. The other slide that I thought was really significant from the research that we showed this summer and the data that we showed this summer was this one here. Folks say, well, you don't need money because you spend too much money. We would use this slide every day to suggest something different. State average, $16,311. Similar districts average. Now, when we say similar districts, this is a data point that comes from the state of Ohio. They have looked at all 608 school districts, and they essentially lay out 20. And they say, here are your comparable districts. And it's based on a very complex formula that includes population, total valuation, new builds, average property value. All of those pieces of data go into this compilation. The ones in the Columbus area that you'll be familiar with, Westerville, Gahanna, Hilliard, again, same as what we showed on that last slide, their average spending per pupil is $15,520. We're still almost $2,000 below those districts as well. So sometimes people want to sort of, kind of discount a piece of data and say, well, that's comparing to Cleveland or Cincinnati or Columbus. We know they spend more money. Take out state average if you want and just look at similar districts. And we're still $2,000 below our neighbors, which I think, again, is a compelling point. Our last slide is trying to make sure that we are pillars of the community. This above me shows some ways in which we have continued to make district events really be aimed at bringing anyone in. Whether you have children or not, we hope that people turn out. The block party on Saturday was, I thought, just a phenomenal celebration of all that Pickerington is. And a lot of it was related to the schools, but we also had vendors there. We also had some churches there. We had many different community assets that people could connect with. And so that's what we try to offer. We want people to understand, again, that we provide services of value even if you don't have children here. Now, one element that we have added to trying to be a pillar is that just like we want folks to come to our parties, we're going to theirs too. We're trying to be where folks come naturally in Pickerington without ever even thinking about the schools. Oktoberfest was one. We were at Combustion's Oktoberfest. The Lions Club is having a Christmas parade for the first time. We will be in that. That's adjacent to the tree lighting ceremony. I'm looking up at our camera and looking at our audience, and if you folks know of any that are coming up or you think will attract some residents that we could interact with, we are absolutely happy to be there. We are committed to being anywhere folks are so that we can tell our story, so that we can make a connection, and that we can foster that relationship whether or not you have children in our schools or not. All of us are Pickerington. Whether you're Violet Township, whether you live in that section of Columbus that comes here, whether you live in Pickerington, the city, you pay into our school system. We want to connect with you. We want you to feel that we are a value that we add to your residency. So please consider inviting us to anything that you might think might be relevant. I will turn it over to Dr. Hedgepeth, who's going to give a kind of a preview, or an overview, I should say, of what her services and what she oversees. By the way, each town hall, we will feature a different senior leadership team member who will present sort of some highlights of their department. Heather drew the very, very short straw and had to go first, but we're happy for her bravery.
Thank you. I am Heather Hedgepeth, and Assistant Superintendent, and I get to oversee three wonderful departments who support our academic excellence pillar. We get the privilege and the honor of bringing in staff to support our students. We get the opportunity to work with PEA and PSSA on events. We're actually working with Brad on his and the PEA on their new teachers, supporting them in our efforts to retain high quality staff. So I get to oversee Human Resource Department, also information management systems, as well as the Welcome Center. Any of you check your kids' grades on Infinite Campus? Yes, you should. Well, that is all part of our information management system, and that Jim Campbell oversees that. How many of you looked at our report card? Yes. Well, information management department, if we don't report the accurate data, then it's going to, whatever data we report to ODU is going to be on our report card. So information management system is crucial in collecting the data, ACT data, OST data, OELPA data, all the data that assessments that your students participate in. We collect it and report it back to ODU, and that's how we get our report card with the correct data that is reported to them. So Jim has a very, very important job to make sure that everything is reported accurately. Also, our Welcome Center, we checked today, and our Welcome Center is located at Ridgeview Junior High. From June 1st to today, we have enrolled approximately 1,600 students. That includes kindergarten students. It's just not brand new people moving in. It's the student parents that are enrolling their kids for the first time for kindergarten, including other parents as well who are just moving into our district. We have approximately 12,034 students as of today. We have currently 850 staff members, 500 classified staff members, and approximately 105 administrative staff. So our department oversees all of that to ensure, again, that we have high quality staff in front of our students in an effort to support our academic excellence um, goals. We go back. Our district is only as strong as the people who serve our students every day. That is crucial in making sure that we can retain our staff. Again, we're working with PEA in visiting classrooms. They also work with outside of the school day of having events and professional development for our new teachers. And we also support them by attending and providing professional development, especially for our new teachers to our district who have, this is their first year out of the classroom and college classroom, and then getting the needed support for them to be successful. And last but not least, we often get questioned about our recruitment strategies. If you read any kind of educational article or talk to other colleagues, recruiting has been a challenge for us. And we're all in the same boat trying to get all the high quality staff that we can possibly get to come to our district. So I wanted to outline, and Beth Richardson is here. She's our director of HR. So if I've missed anything, Beth, you let me know. We have university partnerships. One of the things Beth is really good about is reaching out to universities and doing student teacher placements as well as other placements for observations for college students to come in. If we can get them in, we can get in there and start talking to them and recruiting them. Also, we do LinkedIn and Indeed. We've gotten a positive feedback about that recruitment strategy. This summer was one of our first times that we did hiring fairs where we opened up and advertised, and we were able to hire several staff members just through that informal process of having them come to our district office, and we had our administrators there ready to interview them. And last but not least, we have our education service centers that we can contract with and help get staff to our school district. If you're interested in working for us, with us, Frontline is always available. That's listed on our webpage, as well as Peterman. We're also looking for support staff there and also our ESC to sub in our school district. So we have a very important job. We take it very seriously, and we will continue to recruit and retain as many staff as we possibly can with the support of everyone.
At this point, we have again gone through just the highlights that we wanted to share with you, and we're open to any questions or comments. The microphone is open. Or karaoke. We're open to that as well. Yes, ma'am. You're welcome. So she asked about the long-term plans for Ridgeview after we would move, and right now we're viewing that as a middle school. So Diley, those students who are there would be relocated to Ridgeview, at which point Diley becomes available, and so Heritage is something that we are exploring moving those students to. That is, at this point, still the plan. We are having some conversations for next year, too, about being able to have all-day kindergarten. In all honesty, those are some conversations we have to work through with the public, work through with our board, but Heritage would be open, would have some seats available, as well as Diley, because as Heritage fills into Diley, that still leaves a decent amount. So we would be looking at potentially 2 hubs. And again, these are all potential, but we've been pretty open about, as I've gone to PTOs and talked with different groups, really we see an impetus for all-day kindergarten. And one of those pieces, and I mentioned it before, was our early literacy grade. So hopefully that answers your question.
I will plug shamelessly. I'm a parent of a new kindergartner, and I'm really at Violet, and I'm really excited about the reading groups that they're doing across ages. But I noticed that kindergartners weren't part of that, and I don't know, but I suspect it might be due to some of the challenges with scheduling with an afternoon and a morning. So I just want to say I'm so eager to see if the district can make that possible and appreciate the efforts to do so.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And honestly, we've looked for anecdotes from parents, and maybe if you don't mind dropping an email to me, because part of what we have to continue to illustrate to some folks in our community, not everybody, but some folks will push back and say, well, it's not a state mandate, and that's true. It's not a state mandate to have all-day kindergarten. But I would argue at this point in our development as a school district, and quite frankly, just as a state, in terms of what we expect of our early learners, to me it's a moral imperative more so than any type of state mandate. And a number of parents have shared with me their frustration. They move into Pickerington, pay an awful lot of money for a house, assume that all-day kindergarten is just a given, because quite frankly for about 90% of the districts in Ohio it is, and then are very discouraged to find out, well, no, it's not. Now I have to make different arrangements. And quite frankly, both of us work as parents, and I've continued to hear that. And I think that our foot needs to be on the pedal in terms of how to make that happen. So I appreciate you sharing. All right, well, it gets awkward after a while, honestly. So we'll be here if you want to stay and ask any questions. Again, sometimes people get discouraged by crowd size, and I just want to say that we're always going to put out the forum. And part of the reason we do this is so that when we really need to come and get a message out, if it's levy time, if we're talking about conversion of programming to all-day kindergarten, we'll probably have 4 or 5 of these. But no one can ever say, "Oh, you're just coming when you need something." We're committed to being available, and we're committed to putting ourselves into these types of situations where you can ask and you can say anything that you want. And it's a lot more informal than a board meeting. You're certainly welcome at board meetings as well. They are, and from time to time, Kathy provides entertainment. Last time she actually sort of modeled a map on the wall, which was just really, really fascinating, how she was able to sort of give her little anecdotes about different parts of Pickerington. So, but again, we'll be here every quarter at a minimum, and we hope that you will be too. So thank you for joining.